Now, another thing that we will add in to our preparations is actually preparing our crowd. Know who your crowd is. Know exactly what they want out of this Seder. Just like you have decided what is good, what you would like to try to gain out of it, also make sure that the people that are participating at your Seder know what they should expect to get out of it. If you have a crowd that is looking more for games and entertainment, you need to push some of that in. If you have a group that is more into intellectual discussions, you have to push that, okay? And try to always make sure that you have people know that this is a very long night. Because when people come in and they don't have any idea what's about to happen, then they sit down at the table and there's no food being served for a very long time, people get impatient. There's a story of Rav Nachman from Breslov, who would tell this story in the evening of Pesach, of Leil HaSeder. And I like to start out with this story whenever I run a Seder. I say there were once two beggars. One was Jewish, one was not. And they were traveling together, and it was the night of Pesach. And they come to a village, and the Jew tells his friend, he says, we will go to the synagogue, and you will dress as a Jew, and they will take us in, because this is a very generous night that we bring in anyone who doesn't have where to eat will have where to eat tonight. So we invite everyone in, and I'll go somewhere, you go somewhere, we'll feast like kings. And they go to the service, and after services are done, they go each to a different house where they will be spending Leil HaSeder. And they agree to meet up later on at the synagogue back the next morning. The next morning, they meet up. The Jew is sitting there with his belly full, says it was a wonderful night. And his friend, the non-Jew, is screaming and yelling at him, you lied to me, you cheated me, how could you have done this to me? He says, what do you mean? He says, well, I sit there at the table, and there is nothing on the table except a lot of these decorations and a plate with all these weird foods in it. And we sit there and we start reading a text. So I go along, we drink a bit of wine, it was nice. Then afterwards, they say, here you go. And they give me a little potato, we dip it in salt water, and we eat it. Not amazing, but okay, a little bit of an appetizer. Then, suddenly they start going into this whole long reading, and this goes on forever, and I'm starving, and I'm trying to figure out when the food's coming. They tell me it's almost here. I come, we finish the reading, and they take out this dry cracker and give it to me. I take a bite out of it, and my mouth is so dry, I go, oh, I can't take this anymore, but maybe the food is coming now. And then they give me this lettuce, they call it marar. It was bitter, they dipped it in this horseradish thing. It was terrible, and I just got up, I screamed, I yelled, I said, how can you do this to a guest? Where's the food? And I left without looking back. He says, oh, if you were almost there, you would have waited another few minutes, you would have feasted like a king. And I start out by telling the story so that people realize this is going to be long. But in the end, we will feast like kings. So prepare yourself. Make sure that the kids ate lunch or an early dinner before the Chag comes in so that they are not hungry. Make sure that people are aware that this is going to take a while. And when you prepare them, I give people fidgeting things, a stress ball or something so that they can play with. I often have things out on the table so that people can play with. A good idea is the little leapfrogs. If you can't buy them in your country, then maybe get making origami ones with the kids, and then you can have them hopping into cups, and that way there's something for people to do who want to zone out a bit. Think of these types of things. Think of plays that you can put on. Think of things that the kids can participate in. As many things as you will think about, the more likely people will have a good and fun Seder, the more likely they are to participate, and the more likely they are to learn and grow from this experience.